Might say we'll get quite a bit on there. It's good, eh? Remember, like, this is meant to get you out of your comfort zone. So if you feel like nervous, that's the whole point. And then when you're in the field, it's way easier. People don't even know what you're meant to say anyway. So.
Yeah.
So if you want to come out confident, just
Lead a pen?
Just for proof of helping, just so that say that. I always just
Okay, there's the last few things we've got for this morning.
yeah, that's a good thing. I just keep grab an email so I can just do the winning tickets. I say kind of diffuses it and it makes it.
Also, sometimes if you emphasize, like, I really like emphasizing, like, I have to give you a receipt. Like, I really want, like, I have to give you a receipt through email. Otherwise, if I get in trouble, you'll be in trouble. Right?
Well, yeah, well, the thing is
I get started this with the quality metrics. We want to be aiming for 12 sales in a week.
it amounts to like a few extra, like $100. So it's like
That's what we call new leader. Yeah? Well, new leader is actually 10, but we want to get if you can do 10 a week, we can consider you consistent sales. So we would like you to get to that stage way early. But if you do 12, it's obviously better. And then 15 is more leader. So for 15, you can do 15 week in, week out. That's when you're like a bit of a boss. You start walking on a bit of swagger from the man. People start asking you for tips. Cool. So that's the trick, is to try and get up to 3 a day. So 12 is like kind of 2.4 per day. Sweet. So you can't sign up half a person. That's like the smallest number maybe, but 2.4 a day is the goal. So you're going to 2 one day, 3 the other day, 2 one day, 3 the other day, 2 the other day, and it's 12. So it takes a bit to get to that point. But out of the 12, my point is here is with the quality metrics, we want to be doing 1 in 4 under 30 years old. So if you think about that ratio, it's 3 out of 12. So when you're signing people up, if you sign up someone under 30, you better make sure you do 12 and you only let 2 more to go. So try not to sign up anyone under 30. For you guys, when you're newer, try and get comfortable talking to people over 30. So at the start, when you stop them, you can't always tell. You've got to ask a couple questions to find out. And I don't want you to necessarily skip the people that are under 30 because you don't always know how old people are. But try and aim for like over 25 minimum. So when you stop them, like don't even try and stop people that look like they could be 18 to 23, 24. Try and aim in your head, like just try and stop people over 25. Because otherwise, temptation ensues, right? Same reason married men don't often go to the strip club. Cool. So just don't put yourself in this situation, because if you're stopping someone who's like 23 and they're just a cool person and you're having a good chat and they like you and they laugh at your jokes and they like the charity, you're like, oh, I'll sign this person up. But even though they're cool, they're not good on paper, they're just too young. So it's important to not get caught up on that. So that's our metrics there, is 3 out of 12 weekly. And it's the same with, this is the same for under 30s and unemployed. So we call it like full-time work. We want to have full-time work for basically for 9 out of 12. So the disadvantage that us males have is what's the easier, gender, risky these days saying that, but what's the easier type of person to attract generally? Like we attract opposites. So it's a little bit easier sometimes for us to sign up chicks. The problem is, sometimes the age that we're looking for, 30 to 50, sometimes they got kids. And if they've got kids, there's less chance that we're working at the moment. So we've got to be a bit careful with that as well. So trying to avoid doing too many mums. Mums are okay, but not too many. Especially not young mums, man. Under 30, no go. So in my mind, when I go back to the objection handling stuff, I'm trying to be smart about thinking. And this takes time, like this will take you guys a week or two. But once you've got your picture on lock, it's almost like on automatic, you don't have to think about what you're saying anymore. You'll start thinking then, what kind of person am I talking to? When I'm talking to this person right here, do they fit into the category I'm looking for, or are they a little bit on the edge? And if they're a bit on the edge, I'm not going to try too hard with them. And if they give me an objection, I might even just let them go instead of trying to turn that edge. But if they're like 30 to 60 working full time, I'm going to turn a couple of objections. But if they're 28, 27, 26, and they're working part time and they've got a kid, I'm not going to try and sign them up. Like if they give me an objection, if they're like, oh, I'm not really sure, I'm like, no worries. You jump on the website and help us out. So that's just going to be smart. So those are the metrics there. Longevity is the one that trips us up the most. Okay, so this one here is probably the. That's for $20. This one here is the most important, which is explaining the long-term part. So we try and kind of brush over a little bit so they get that it's regular support, but we don't want to like chuck them straight in the deep end in our pitch, otherwise we won't even get it with the iPad. That's trying to put it off. So we want to talk about that coffee a week as long as you want to. The longer you support, the more kids we can help. Cool. And then we get to the iPad, we go through the. You know, from seeing a few sales and you had a day as well, but we're scrolling through the form, okay? And it gets to the part where they get to choose their monthly amount. Now we want to try and use the pitch card here, so we literally give them the pitch card, and we get to pick the amount off there. So this is the part where you get to choose how much you're going to donate, and I'm talking about the three options, right? Cool. So most people help with one of these ones. We talked about the coffee a week. Cool. That's a nice round number. It's like $1 a day, $6-7 a week, $30 a month. Most people do one of these ones though. So I talk about the 30 even though it's off the page, and then I try and pitch them on the page, and then they'll feel like they're getting a deal if they go for 30 off the page. The 30 is still good because you get $100 for it. Nice round number, good amount for the charity. But I try and close them on these three. So I talk about 30. Right, so we've got these ones here, and what most people do. But we've also got the one we talked about with the coffee, $1 a day, $30 a month. Cool. 60s for business owners or celebrities or people who want to chip in a bit more. 45s for partners when they want to do it together, help out a little bit extra. 35 is the most popular one. Which one works for you? Most people will just choose a 35. Or they'll go, oh, can I just do the 30? And then I'm like, yeah, of course, chuck on 30, give me a deal. You know, feel like they've got a discount. That's right. And it's still going right. I'm like, every little bit helps towards these guys. So $30 a month goes a long way. Cool. And the reason we do it monthly instead of weekly is just because we don't want to bother you every week taking the payment out. So you get to choose how much you want to do and when you want to start. Sweet. And then I'm going to select the date. Okay. So I'm like, hey, most people set it up, so it's just after payday. So you normally get paid like monthly, weekly, fortnightly, and they're like, oh, I get paid fortnightly. I'm like, cool. So without trying to sound cheeky, just to make it easier for you, do you mind if we just set it up like a day or two after payday? And I'm like, yeah, sweet. I'm like, when's the next payday? And on Heart Foundation, you choose any day of the month. There's no excuse for us getting a reject on that first payment. You choose any day, like they can choose any day of the month. So I'm like, I'll literally get my calendar on the iPad. Like, I'll do it on my iPad. And you've got a calendar on every iPad. You just click on the calendar, and you're like, when's payday? And they're like, oh, it's next Wednesday. I'm like, cool. We'll see if we can't set on the 10th. When's the next one? It's too soon, it's going to be 10 days. The next one's on the 16th, cool, we'll put it on the 17th. Or, you know what I mean, put it the day after. Because then that payment's not going to bounce, it's the day after payday. So with one thing, you just got to choose the closest one. Usually it's only 2 or sometimes 3, it's like the first 10th, 15th, or first 15th, 20th. And then I want to emphasize this part, okay? So, like I said earlier, we don't ask you to do it forever, but we do ask you to give it your best shot for as long as possible, because the longer you support, the more kids we can help, or the more people we can help with heart problems, or go back to that. I want them thinking about not the amount of money and the length of time, I want them thinking about the helping part, because that's the end of the day, the truth, I want to help the charity. And then when I get to the checklist, I want to preempt that as well. So I'm talking about this before I get them on the iPad looking at it, I'm giving them the pitch card. So I'm like, hey, this is where you get to choose your amount. You give them the pitch card. I talk about these. I talk about the 30. And I'm like, these are the most popular. Which one works for you? They hopefully choose this one. Otherwise, they go, I'll do the 30. I'm like, cool. I'm like, do you want to fill it on the iPad? And I give them the iPad and fill it in there. Rather than like getting shocked, like, oh shit, you know. And then I talk about the date, the pay. day after payday, and the longer they can support, they don't have to go forever, but the more they can support, the more people we can help. And then before we get to the last page of the checklist, there's a box on there that says 2-year support. Really important that we talk about it before we just show them the checklist. So if you're onto it, you'll know when it's coming, and your leader will help out with this as well. So you need to go. So this is the part, we've got a little checklist for you just to make sure you understood everything. So, just make sure I've done my job, dot my I's, cross my T's, all that kind of stuff. So there's one part on here which I want you to make sure you're aware of, and that's the longevity, which is the length of time you're going to donate for. The average person actually donates for 3 or 4 years. So it's a long time. We just ask you to give it your best shot and aim for 2 years support. Is that cool? We understand situations change, so the longer you can donate, the better. They're like, yeah, sweet. I'm like, cool, here's the checklist. And then they get to choose the amount that they're donating, the fact that it's monthly, so they understand that it's coming out each month, the 2-year support, the fact that they've seen your ID and that you're a paid fundraiser, all these kinds of things. Cool? Easy? That's it. So all this stuff might sound like a lot, but as you do it, it's just reps again. It's just like a lot of content. But that's important, this part here to think about, and this part, making sure we're not doing more than 3 out of our 12. So if you're going to do like 4 sales a day, you could do 1. That's not good quality. So it does make it tricky, but remember, we're only trying to find 2 or 3 people to sign up. So as long as we talk to 25, 30, 35 people, we're going to find a couple of good ones in there. We don't want to try and sign up more. Yeah. If you're really good, you could probably sign up 10 out of like 20 people and get terrible quality. Yeah. So the guys that do 10 in a day, they usually stop like 40, 50 people, and they'll probably close like 25 of them, and they'll still sign up like 10 out of 25. But the quality has to be within these metrics. We can't have like 10 under 25-year-olds. With the under 25s, we're only allowed 1 out of 10, by the way. So basically 1 a week. So if you sign up a 23, 24-year-old, that's it, you're done. Don't need more. Cool? So the over 30s are really important. Alright, that's it up there. Okay, law of averages is just a bit of a test for you guys. Remember the topic we ran on the numbers and LOAs? What's our KPIs, our metrics, our trends and all that stuff? What's our target day? Like how many sales we're trying to aim for in a day? We aim for 3. Yeah. Go backwards. 2 to 3. Yeah. Cool. So we've got a number of people that we stop and talk to, number of people we present to, number of people we close, number of people we get onto the iPad, and then we kind of expect about 1 out of every 4 to drop off from the iPad, like they get a bit nervous, or they're like, oh, is this legit, or that kind of stuff, or is this a scam? We lose 1 of them from that, and sign up 3. Cool. And if any of these numbers are a little bit skewed, the percentages are off, then we can just look at them and figure out like maybe there's something extra we can do. So to give you an example, if this was 30 stops, only 10 presentations, then I'd run some topics on how to engage someone quickly or controlling the conversation. Or if it was not enough people to the close, then it's from the presentation to the close is where we're missing out. So I'll talk about like transitioning from the presentation to close, or maybe some more impulsing, like more reasons for people to buy so they hang around longer, they want to know what to say for the close or hear you out. Or if this is 12 still, and this is only like 2 and 0, then I might be like, we need to work on our actual close, like how we're delivering the close, how confident we are, is it clear, is it concise, does it sound easy? And then from the iPad to there, how's our confidence with the iPad stuff? Like if we're actually running through the iPad, does it sound relaxed, calm, natural, conversational, all that kind of stuff. So these are different ways we evaluate those KPIs, cool. I just want to get you guys to watch a video now, and it's just on the law of averages. It's probably the best way I've heard explaining it. It's based on door-to-door sales, it's not exactly the same as us, but it's a really good way of learning it. So, yeah. I've got the old tucks there, how good.
One of the first real jobs that I ever had was doing door-to-door sales. It was strictly commission, so it was entirely possible to spend 60 hours working in a week just to make a grand total of nothing, not in time. Now, luckily for me, the training provided exceptional. The concept has continued to stay with me. averages. Now, to understand this law and what it has to do with you, let me paint a picture of what exactly my job entitled. I sold telecommunication services. Think TV, internet, and home phone. I would spend the majority of my day knocking on doors looking for potential buyers. There were three categories of people that I would meet throughout the day. The first was the most common. They were the hard-nosed customers. They loved the provider. They had no issues with them, and they did not want to hear your pitch. They were sitting ones to chase you off their porch with their surprisingly large collection of nipples. True story, by the way. The best of the best salesman could get them to buy, and even then, the rate of success would be extremely low. These guys made up about 80% of all the consumers. Next up were the medium difficulty consumer. They were much less common than the hard consumers, and they made up about 10% of the consumer base. They were indifferent about their provider. They didn't love them at the same time. They didn't really hate them either. There would always be one or two things that they wish could be improved upon. But for the most part, they weren't really looking. However, they were willing to listen. The best of salesmen could close a decent amount of these deals, while the moderately good salesman could also grab a couple. But if you were new to the game, you'd have a pretty hard time making a sale. And finally, they were the easy consumers. They were extremely rare, but they were straight out buyers. They were already having issues with their providers and were considering on changing, but never really got around to it. If you as a salesperson were to find these people, no matter how bad of a salesperson you were, basically had a sale. All you had to do was not to work the paperwork, and the chances of finding these was about 1 in 100. Now, the law of averages states that the likelihood of certain events evens out if the frequency is increased, which meant that if I spent an entire day bumping into only hard-nosed consumers, I was not to get discouraged, because if I kept on knocking, I would eventually bump into an easy consumer, and this was very often than not the case. There's even one particular day which I remember extremely vividly. I had just finished training, and I was finally out on the field on my own. I was in this humongous apartment complex with about 15 floors and over 3,000 doors. I spent 10 hours that day knocking on doors, getting yelled at left and right. In my head, I was thinking, law of averages my ass. It's all about the territory and the price of the product and the weather outside. You know what? I'm going to prove them wrong. I'm going to finish knocking on all the doors, and I'm going to show them that the law of averages is a hoax. And when I got to the very bottom of this 15-floor complex, the last 3 doors, guess what? Were all easy customers back to back. They were practically begging to be switched over. I remember going home that day baffled by the power of the law of averages. And over the years working there, it only became more and more ingrained into my mindset. Now, what does the law of averages have to do with you? You don't do sales. Well, no matter what your goal is, you're going to bump into a large majority of hard rejections. A couple of indifferent rejections, ones that if you're skilled enough, you can win over. And once in a blue moon, you're going to bump into some opportunities that are literally just waiting for you to show up at their doorsteps. Whether it be in regards to your dating life, getting a job, or even getting recognition for your creative work, the large majority of you are going to reject you. What you have to keep in mind is, the more times you take action, the more times you get rejected, the closer you are to finding those who are excited to actually work with you. So if you want a girlfriend, you got to go out there and approach people. If you want to get a decent job, all you have to do is apply to more places. And if you want to get recognized for whatever creative expression that you tinker in, all you got to do is keep on creating. Now, don't worry if you bump into a wall of rejections early on, because that's how the game works. You're supposed to get rejected. Life is all a numbers game, and the odds are never going to be in your favor. But if you keep playing, you're going to win. And that, my friend, is the law of averages.
It is an incredible way to travel and have a good.
You guys going out for today?
No, I don't think we have a leader currently. We're off tomorrow, being I rest of I've been driving, like jet lag kind of feel.
Like it's only on Cody, I think on the red.
Right. You run the road today?
What's that? January, today, you're training. Very aware. Yeah, it's on. Wesley is, sorry if I get Wesley, TJ said he's keen to come and join you on the field today. So, yeah, I'm trying to get him to come meet the office. He said he might be a little bit later, like 10:30. So he'll be left out to pack and save. So we might get you out there today. Nice. Good.
just have to turn up today, yeah?
Exactly. Yeah. And plus, I was like, oh, it's not raining. It's raining quite a bit today, so you probably won't be going to play golf. So yeah, it should be all good. Alrighty. How was that topic there? Have you guys heard of that kind of before that concept a little bit with others, or?
Yeah, the more no's you get, the closer you are to a yes.
Yeah, as long as you're using the right systems. Yeah. So it's a little bit different to like, because if you're trying the same shit over and over again, not adjusting, then you're just going to get no result. As long as you know that your systems are right and you're good, and your attitude. Alright, sweet. The last thing I want to run through is a little bit of a mentality topic. I might even see if I can find some office space. I feel like sitting down is going to be better. So if you guys want to hang for a sec, we'll go to either the boardroom or the other room.
Sweet.